Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel. Hello again, sweet darlings. I'm here to talk to you about Palm Sunday, a very beautiful and special day within the Catholic Church and for all Christians, of course. Today I am going to be talking to you about an olive oil and citrus cake, really lovely Mediterranean flavors. The olive oil made me think very much of kind of Palm Sunday and the Mount of Olives as well. I had so much fun making this recipe. We made it for a friend when she came, but I just want to take a minute to reflect a bit about the traditions of Palm Sunday before diving into that recipe. So the celebration has roots in the early Christian church, drawing from Jewish traditions of using palms in festive processions such as the Feast of Tabernacles, but by the 4th century, evidence of Palm Sunday observances emerge. The pilgrim Egeria, in her account of the Jerusalem liturgy around 381 AD, describes a procession on the Mount of Olives with palm branches reenacting Jesus' entry. This practice spread from Jerusalem to other Christian centers like Constantinople and Rome over the following centuries. Before the 1969 liturgical reforms of Vatican II, Palm Sunday was distinct from Passion Sunday, the 5th Sunday of Lent. Post-reform, it is officially called Palm Sunday of the Passion of the Lord, combining the triumphal entry with the stronger focus on the Passion, reflecting its dual nature. So there's a slight shift there in our Feasting with the Saints recipe booklet. We are following the pre-1955 traditional liturgical calendar, which is why this is in there as a celebration on this day. But if you were looking at a modern calendar, you'd see Palm Sunday of the Passion of the Lord as the name. So it's kind of shifting the focus slightly towards the Passion and less on the triumphant entry into Jerusalem. I suppose it's looking more ahead to the Passion. So although the entry to Jerusalem is triumphant, we know what it's leading up to. We know it's leading up to the Passion. So this cake, I wouldn't say is super celebratory, but it's perfect kind of for sharing outdoors with friends and family. We enjoyed sharing it with a friend when she came over. My toddler enjoyed it, and there's actually still a nice big slice left in the fridge, which I probably will have later with another cup of tea. What I found interesting when I was looking into Palm Sunday, and obviously Jesus, talking about being seated on the donkey's colt, as someone who is slowly working her way through the Bible, so much of this is kind of weaving in together for me. I'm getting a lot of things from different sources, so it's very interesting to realize that his disciples didn't necessarily connect all of the prophecies until after he'd been resurrected. Jesus found a young donkey and sat on it, as it is written, "Do not be afraid, daughter Zion. See, your king is coming, seated on a donkey's colt." At first, his disciples did not understand all this. Only after Jesus was glorified did they realize that these things had been written about him, and that these things had been done to him. Now the crowd that was with him when he called Lazarus from the tomb and raised him from the dead continued to spread the word. Many people, because they had heard that he had performed this sign, went out to meet him. So the Pharisees said to one another, "See, this is getting us nowhere. Look how the whole world has gone after him." That last line, see how the whole world has gone after him. I really, I suppose that would be the hope of the apostles and of Jesus and of most Christians in their heart, that, we might, see a time where more people are turning to Christ. And certainly I see it, all around me in the media. When I think about how many people are finding Christ, I never stop to find those stories miraculous. Obviously, it felt incredible in my own life to have lived a secular life, someone who would have looked down on people with faith, someone who would have kind of said, yeah, well, you're just not being rational, you are just naive, you're not very clever if you have that kind of faith. I've now realized that it's really about pride. It's not about smarts. It's if you can let go of your pride, to have faith and admit how much you need God, that is such a gift in your life. So I always love to come across those videos and stories online of people's testimonies. I also love to hear from all of you, sharing your stories, how long you've been a Catholic, how did you convert, what was it that made it happen for you. So if you'd like to share any of those stories down below, or how you're going to be celebrating Palm Sunday, please do. But without further ado, let's make this cake, let's enjoy it, and then we can reflect afterwards on how it went. Okay, well, we're starting again as we always do by getting our ingredients out and ready to go. For this recipe, you need 1.5 cups of olive oil, which when I was pouring it out here, I realized that is actually quite a lot of olive oil. And I began to be worried that this cake would just taste like olive oil and not like orange at all. But the good thing is you add in a lot of orange as well. So you add in your olive oil, and then you add 3 eggs. You also need 1.25 cups of cane sugar, 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. I didn't have any light brown sugar, so I used dark brown sugar, and that seemed to be fine. You need 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, 3 teaspoons of lemon zest. I probably added in a little bit more because I don't think you could actually have too much. I think I ended up zesting 2 lemons. And then you need 1/3 cup of orange zest lightly packed. For me, I needed to zest about 4 oranges to do this. But that wasn't the end of the world because we love to make homemade orange juice, just like juicing the oranges ourselves. It's kind of a fun activity to do with my toddler. So we did that after we had zested those oranges. You'll also need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of salt, and then half a teaspoon of baking powder and half a teaspoon of baking soda. And 1.25 cups of whole milk, which I'm just adding here. So it was really easy to just add everything together in a bowl. My toddler liked to get involved because we actually made this because we had a dear friend coming for afternoon tea. So whenever there's somebody coming, she's extra keen to help with the mixing. And one of her favorite things is to add the sugar in. I prefer to kind of do it in a big go, but she likes to do it spoon by spoon. And yes, I am aware that she is sneaking the occasional taste of that sugar, but I think it's all part of the process. We all love to lick the spoon, don't we, when we're doing some baking? So the fact that she's helping and she's learning how to kind of measure things in and kind of patiently follow some instructions and not eat it all before it's ready to go, I really appreciate that she wants to do that with me. This is how it looked kind of halfway through. We've mixed in some brown sugar, and now we need to grate the oranges. Such a lovely smell that came off of these. It was just as kind of light and spring-like and refreshing as I had hoped making this cake. So as I said, we needed to grate about 4 oranges, zest them, sorry, and then add that in and give it all a good swirl around before putting it into a baking tray that was lined with parchment paper. The recipe does say that you need to kind of grease this with olive oil, but I'm in the habit of just always baking something in parchment paper because it's easy then to lift out when it's hot and move it onto kind of a cooling rack. So I didn't worry about greasing my pan. I just put that cake batter straight into the parchment paper and then popped it into the oven. You do need to run your oven about 150 degrees Celsius on a fan. As I've said in other videos, my oven runs a little bit hot, but that's kind of adjusted. I turned mine down a little bit. So I think for people whose oven is running normally at a good temperature, that will be fine for you. And I did end up baking this cake for about 50 minutes. The recipe called for 60, but I felt that that would be a little bit too long. And I pulled it out and it was looking good at that point. So I then just let it rest and cool down because we were having some lunch and doing nap time. And then I came back to make the glaze. And that is just some powdered sugar, lemon juice, and lemon zest in a small bowl. Drizzle it over and then let that harden. It looked very much like a lemon drizzle cake, except considerably more chunky, which you'll see in a minute. It was really a very, very thick sponge cake. And again, when I saw this, I thought that perhaps it was going to be a little bit too dense and a little bit too olive oily, but it's so light and fluffy. It's lovely and moist because of the amount of oil that you've added. And my friend liked it so much that she didn't refuse taking home about half of the cake with her for her teenage son. So that was a joy to me that she actually enjoyed it. And my toddler liked it, and so did my baby. Okay, well, I did say that I was going to have some later with tea, and it's a little bit later, and I do have tea, and I've gotten some cake for myself. You can see that it's quite like a nice dense sponge cake. It's got lovely bits of orange zest running through it. As I said, when I was putting in the olive oil for this recipe, I really thought it was going to be way too olive oily, and I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't. If anything, this is more citrusy. The glaze makes all the difference, I would say, in terms of how the cake looks. It doesn't look like much as a sponge cake, but I think adding the glaze on top, it almost becomes kind of a lemon drizzly style of cake. But it was really nice just with tea. I think it would be nice if it was warm or cold. I suppose you could also make it into kind of a sponge cake with maybe some orange cream or something in the middle to like add extra zest in. I'll have to play around with that, but I kind of, because it ended up being quite a thick sponge, like it came out, really quite chunky. You could easily slice that in half and add some kind of nice filling. So if you've got any ideas for that, drop that into the comment below, because I think that that could be really lovely and refreshing. Maybe you already know a cake recipe like that that is kind of a citrus take on a Victoria sponge cake, which we really like in our house. But yeah, it was easy to make. It was really enjoyable. You didn't need self-raising flour, so I always like that. And it's a nice big cake, so really perfect for feeding a crowd. And because it's kind of a very moist sponge, it's not too airy, it's quite filling. So it's not like a sponge cake where you need to eat a lot of it to feel like you've had a nice slice of cake. Like a little slice like this is going to do me just fine. So perfect for like a tea party maybe, or something at your parish. But however you make it and choose to enjoy it, I hope that you have a beautiful Palm Sunday, that your Lent is going well. If you're interested in purchasing the April booklet and you haven't done so already, it's not too late. That's still available on our website for £3.49, and the link is in the description of this video. And if you'd like to join me for a year of sacred recipes and bonus content every single month, then do purchase the annual bundle, where you will get about 20% off a full cost of recipes for the year. And you'll get stuff delivered to your inbox every single month, recipes and bonus content, and an email from me. Thank you so much to all of you who have already joined me on that journey. So the next time we see each other will be just before Easter Sunday. So I wish you all a blessed week. Until then, we will be making a chocolate Easter babka together, beautiful chocolate braided Easter bread, which I'm planning to take into some friends who have kindly asked to host us for Easter Sunday, bringing together a lovely group of people. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and hopefully the recipe goes well. In the meantime, take good care, everybody, and God bless.